throw me out in a heartbeat.
Hey man, I've made it for almost 4 years.
But I'd have trailers and stuff in my
No, I didn't
yard.
know that. I just had loud cars, loud bikes.
Yeah, yeah. See,
anyone who wishes to speak or make a public comment on an item that's on the agenda for tonight, please fill out a card, put it to the back. You give it to myself or the clerk, the bill. If you have the card in before the item is called up, you'll be on time. When you're recognized by the president, you can go to either mic, give your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. If you need additional time, just ask for more time. Please direct your comments to the city council members, not anyone in the audience or no other mic.
Nah, you fine. You gonna be live now. Anything you say is gonna pick up on.
Anyone who wishes to speak on an item that's on the agenda for tonight, please fill out a card. It's to the back. Give it to myself or the clerk, Mr. Ville. When you're recognized by the president, you can go to either mic, give your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. If you need additional time, just ask for more time. Please direct your comments to the city council members and not anyone on the opposite mic or in the audience. If you have any questions, let me know.
This is but same thing as all of the agenda you hit late cross. Oh, but where's the school? Right here. Basketball court still parked. I have one. Okay. Okay. It's a list of them. Should have brought my glasses.
Still want to talk?
Yes, sir. Yes. You're gonna speak. What's going on? Put the microphone over by you. You don't have to get your face in it, but it'll
All right.
from there.
It's 4:30, I mean 5:30.
Hey, how you doing?
Great.
Oh, you have a good report. Buddy. Let's call him. Here's your hey.
I'm gonna call this meeting of the city council to order. Please stand. Mr. Ayu will lead us in the pledge. Mr. Ian will lead us in the prayer.
Let us pray. We come, God our Father, we come thanking you for this beautiful, blessed, cold day that you've given us for our enjoyment and life to live. Now as we meet tonight with the citizens of this Lake Charles, the city of Lake Charles, and the city council, and the mayor and his administration, we pray that you will be with us in everything that we exercising their part will be done decently and in order. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Nate?
Mr. Eckert?
Here.
Mr. Gann? Here. Ms. August?
Here.
Mr. Marks?
Here.
Mr. Harvey?
Here.
Mr. Ayu?
Here.
And Mr. Weatherford?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, the first order of business that we have today, I want to take a point of personal privilege. We have a student here that did a phenomenal task, and I'll let him explain himself. His name is Aman Basra.
Yes, so my project here is about assessing plastic pollution in Lake Charles, Louisiana, and predicting the effects of banning single-use plastic in Lake Charles. So I got this idea while I was traveling to France this summer, and I noticed that they had no single-use plastic, which gave me the idea to conduct my own study focused on improving environmental health in Lake Charles. So I visited the Lake Charles North Beach every Sunday at 4:30 p.m. for 4 consecutive weeks from September 1st to September 21st, 2024. And I had covered the same path each time. The total distance was about 0.43 miles or 0.69 kilometers. So to do this experiment, I had to separate my plastic. So I counted the amount of litter in our area, and so I see like glass, metal, paper, to see how much plastic is contributing to that total litter. And in just plastic alone, there's more specific categories like plastic wrappers, plastic containers, and even cigarette butts, which are made out of cellulose acetate, which is a plastic composite material. Now, my results, I usually on the course of 0.43 miles, I found about 200 to 300 pieces of litter, and about that, around 63 to 75% of that was plastic. And they were usually cigarette butts, plastic wrappers, and bottle caps were the top 3 contributors to that 63 to 75% of plastic. And most of the plastic were sized less than 4 inches, which means that our smaller plastic is getting into beaches more, and it's harming marine life. Now I found, 70.5% on average was our total plastic accumulation, which was more than glass, metal, paper, or any other material combined. So cigarette butts, bottle caps, and plastic wrappers are the top 3, which cigarette butts had a total of 28%, bottle caps had a total of 21%, and plastic wrappers had a total of 18% of our total litter in Lake Charles. So it's hard to ban cigarette butts in our area. However, there are recycling programs for cigarette butts like TerraCycle, which you can use to recycle cigarette butts in a small box. And but what we can do is implement a gradual stepwise ban. So we can start with high impact items like plastic wrappers and bottle caps, and gradually implement this ban. So on these surveys that I surveyed retailers and consumers in our area, and most people are supporting a ban on single-use plastic in Lake Charles. And also on my predictive analysis, I noticed that plastic tends to increase if there's no action taken. If plastics were to be banned, there's a significant decline over the 10 weeks after my study period, which means that there would be a long-term impact of banning single-use plastic in our area.
That's it. Thank you. Mr. Matthew, you want to get the picture with him?
Sure.
Phoebe's in here.
Would you join me, President Marks? We'd be honored to present you with a certificate. President Marks signed this. And you want to take a picture?
Excuse me, let me get your board.
Quick. He speaks very well. I'm glad he's not running for mayor.
Good job.
Appreciate it. Good job. Good job. Yes, good job.
All right, Mr. Guillen, you got a motion?
Yes, I would like, if you don't mind, pulling item number 23
Second. Second. Mr.
I'm gonna ask, Mr. President, ask that you pull item number 23 up, so we can, address that first, and then we can proceed with the rest of the business of the city.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Guillen made the motion, second by Mr. Harvey. Please vote.
7-4.
Okay, we're moving up. Number 23, agenda item number 23. A resolution approving the reappointment of Sean Caldwell as Chief of Police for the Lake Charles Police Department pursuant to Section 4-19 of the Charter for the City of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Any council have any comments at this time? We have some cards that people would like to speak. I have one card I'll start off with. Miss Linda Miles, she didn't want to speak, but she did send a letter. She lives at 1909 Legion Street, and she wants her letter read into the record. To Lake Charles City Hall. Reference Lake Charles Chief of Police. Your policies on who you speak to and the information you can give needs to be changed. When my son was in a terrible car accident after I was not notified that he had been in an accident, I called to get further information about what happened to my son, and because he was over the age of 18, you could not give me information. My son was an unmarried single man, and I was his next of kin. I should be able to get information for my son, especially if he had to be airlifted to another hospital. This needs to be fixed and corrected. Next, I was never notified about my son's accident and was only notified by the hospital because I was his emergency contact. My son has a mom. The detective looked at his driver's license and still did not show up at my door and inform me of this accident. When I arrived to the hospital, there was no police officer there to tell me anything. This is unacceptable, and that person that was in charge of the case needs to be suspended due to his actions. I called the police department every day while my son was in the hospital, and then once he passed away, I called September 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. I was never given a phone call back after these dates until you finally started the investigation on the 18th. The key piece of evidence that could have put this to rest, you failed to get because you waited too long to start the investigation. I called to speak to the chief of police several times and was never called back. After my son passed was the only time someone would actually get back with me, and it was only a few times. The only form of communication I received from the city police was from someone in a different department that was an old high school friend. The number of times I called and tried to speak to the detective in charge of this case, but he never called back. This is ridiculous. I am a grieving mother, and I cannot get answers about my son. This is sad. The only reason I was able to get a meeting with the detective and chief of police was after my son's family physician called the mayor and got a meeting, and still nothing was done. After finally speaking to someone and asking about his belongings, someone called for me to collect his belongings, but it was someone else's phone. I have continuously asked about his belongings because I know he had a bag on him with his phone, money, and wallet inside. The city police still have not been able to locate his belongings. How would you know that it is him without his ID? This situation could have been done differently. If the detective in charge would have shown up to tell me about my son, if the detective would have started an investigation the day of the accident, I would have answers. There are many things that could have happened, but none of them did. And that's why I'm still here 5 months later with no answers, and the case is closed. Because my son is a 6-foot African-American male, you did nothing to make sure his family knew information and knew someone was looking into this incident. Justice should not have a color. Read that into the record for Ms. Linda Miles. We have Reverend Arthur Fuselier. Please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Reverend Arthur Fuselier. Okay. Good evening. My name is Reverend Arthur Fuselier, and I'm here.
Address for the record.
Address is 3441 Taylor Street, here in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And I'm here on behalf of Chief Caldwell, and just wanted to share a little bit with the community, citizens of Lake Charles about a Pastors on Patrol program that the city police has, and it was birthed back in 2007, and I came aboard then. I've been with them ever since, which is about 18 years now, and just want to say to all of that are concerned tonight is that this program was birthed by Minister Franklin Lewis, and he brought it to the idea of he brought the idea to our former chief of police, Chief Dixon, and after he retired, Chief Caldwell became the chief, and he stood alongside and got behind the program and has been with the program ever since. So I'm just speaking on behalf of Chief Caldwell on tonight to let the community know and the citizens know that he has been with this program in trying to induct other officers to come aboard to be with the Lake Charles City Police Department. And he's even asked pastors and ministers that are in the program to put this out into their congregation so that they can get somebody to come aboard this program also. And the program, what it is designed to, is to bridge the gap between the police department and the citizens. And we as ministers have been doing that, our part. We've been in various public things that came apart, which was the last thing was our Thanksgiving basket or giveaway. We went about the community, and majority of that community was on the north side of Lake Charles, and the community received us real well. We walked, knocked doors, and walked. We went to schools, elementary schools, and sat and ate lunch with some of the students. So this is a brief introductory of what this program does. And I just want to say that we stand that behind our chief is that he does an excellent job from my point of view. And last but not least, is we are many members, but then one body, as our churches teach, that we'll have different offices and diversities of gift, but it's all for the same cause, and that's to build up this city. And I believe that if everybody played their part, did their part, the city would be seen in a better light.
Thank you, Mr. Fuselier. Franklin Lewis. State your name and address for the record, please.
All right, I'm Franklin Lewis. My address is 229 North Enterprise Boulevard here in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And I'm here on behalf of Chief Dixon, who's also a good friend of mine. I just want to say that when Chief Caldwell, I'm sorry. I've been under so many administrations, so you got to understand. Chief Caldwell and I, before he became chief, we used to work together in traffic division. I couldn't think of a better guy to work alongside of. And I just want to say that once Chief Caldwell became the new chief, I got with him and I said, Chief, if you put me back in community policing, I'd like to re-implement the Pastor on Patrol program. Within 2 weeks, he done that. He put me back in community policing. I'm happy to say that we have 21 pastors throughout the city that's on board on that program. 18 of them are African American, the other are whites. Okay, so the other thing that I like to say is that I told Chief Caldwell that we needed a black chaplain. We have Pastor Steve James, and he agreed with me, and within a week, we got Pastor Keith Bell from UCF to come on board as our chaplain to represent the African American police officers and also the African Americans in our community. So anytime I've gone to the chief, even when I worked in community policing, we wanted to do a cookout for the kids in Dixie Drive. He was behind us 100% with that. We went out there and we had hot dogs, hamburgers for all the kids. We gave away footballs, basketballs, a little bit of everything. We've even gone in communities and walked just to shake hands. The chief and the DCs, they were all with us when we went to do this, and we were very well received. Our pastors, they get involved in a little bit of everything as far as parades, going to the schools, the whole 9 yards. But one thing that I do want to stress is that I have people that used to come to my house or stop me in the store all the time, stating that they wanted to file a complaint against the police department because they felt like they were being discriminated against or whatever. At that particular point, my instructions to them was that you come to the police department, you fill out a complaint form, Internal Affairs will review that, and then at that point we'll call you in and we'll review the video footage with you. A lot of times what happened was they did not want to come in and do that because they say they just want to make me aware of it or whatever. But like I told them, that we cannot root out a problem if you don't come and make it known. That's the main thing right there. You have to come and say something if you want action. Do we have some bad officers? Probably do. But if the public don't come in and do that complaint form and file that complaint like they need to, then we can't filter them out. And then the last thing that I say is that, the chief has always been transparent with all the pastors. Like he told them, if there's ever an incident where there's an officer involved shooting, he would call them in, be very transparent with them, tell them whatever information he could share with them. Of course, those investigations are always handled by the state police. So all I'm gonna say is that if, out of all the administrations that I worked under, and I started in law enforcement back in 1985, so y'all know how many chiefs I've gone through. This administration here, I have to say, is the best that I ever worked under. If I didn't have the age that I have right now, I would still be there working under this administration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Destiny Doucette, you have any information you'd like to provide? All right. Artie Washington. State your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. Name Artie Washington, address 4122 Hyatt Avenue, Lake Charles, Louisiana, 70615. And I'm here to speak on behalf, not as a pastor so much, because there's a separation of state and church. I'm here to speak more or less on the behalf of a citizen and the police department and Chief Cardwell. I've been on a Pastor on Patrol program for about 4 or 5 years, and I've enjoyed it. The interaction I have with the chief and all the policemen has been outstanding. I speak with them, I watch them in action. They go out, and I had noticed that I'm looking for any infractions, but if there are any infractions, there's a set protocol that you go through to register complaints. And from what I've seen with the chief, he's always up front and wanted to handle business as necessary. And he's always inviting the pastor to inform anyone in the church if we know anybody who would like to apply for a job, it's available. So to me, that would take out any kind of discriminations. And as Minister Franklin said, there's 20 some odd pastors and about 18 or 19 of color. So I can't see discrimination there. And from my interaction again with the police and the chief, it's been outstanding. I recommend and I'll stand behind him 110%, as well as the police department. And it brings about a friendship or a handshake in a community, because we go to the schools and the kids receive us well. And it wouldn't be possible if we couldn't come together and act as one, and instead of like crabs in a bucket, trying to claw over each other. And I think it's a good program, especially for the children, to see us acting together with the parades, and they'll come up to their welcome. And I've been in the store at times, and I've heard kids, moms tell their kids, if you don't stop doing it, I'm gonna call that policeman over for you. And as a couple of times I took it on myself before I even got associated with this. I said, wait a minute, you don't do that. I said, the police are there to help you. You don't want to be afraid of the police. And this is the kind of interaction that we need, and to put it out there. And we do it from our pulpit in the churches, and we do it as we on our camaraderie. And it should move forward. And I think that the chief, he does an outstanding job in my eyesight, but it's a personal opinion. But I value my personal opinion. I wish you would also. And thank you so very much.
Thank you. Any council members?
Well, I'll say something, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Where do I start? Listen, in case anybody thinks everybody up here feels the way I do, I did not confer with anyone about this. Since I have been a city council member, I have had 100% cooperation with the Lake Charles Police Department. When Chief Caldwell became chief of police, it was an open door for me, as it was the previous administration. I have cell phone numbers. People call me who are afraid to go to the police, and they're afraid for the police to go to their homes. They call me to kind of mediate, and usually their problems are very, very serious. And that's where I have to compliment the Lake Charles Police Department and the people who take care of the complaints I pass on. They are always taken very seriously. I always get a feedback. Some of these situations have been very traumatic and serious, and it has been taken care of. And I can't answer for who feels they've been mistreated. Maybe it's the position I hold that I get this type of attention. I don't know. All I can say is that when it comes to my constituents and they need help from me through the city police, they get it, and they get it very rapidly. They get it done very well. And not only that, Chief Caldwell, when something happens in my district, which is District B, that he feels I'm going to get calls about, he calls me and he tells me, Miss August, this is what's going on, this is what has happened, you may get calls about it, and I just wanted to give you a one-up about it. And I appreciate that, but most of all, I appreciate the fact that these men and women support my constituents. That's what I have to look at. And to show you how there can be some misunderstandings and how it has to be handled, there was one part of my district that had a really bad problem, and law enforcement said this: look, we can start on this right away, but are you going to support us, because this is a predominantly African American community, and we don't want anybody to say that the Lake Charles Police Department or law enforcement was picking on a particular race of people. The people who were in that meeting say take care of it, and that very night they started. If you were walking 4 days in the morning, where are you going? Where do you live? Do you have ID? They did make some arrests with outstanding warrants that night. Even if you were driving, they stopped. Driver's license and registration, where are you going? Where do you live? If you want a bicycle, because it was a lot of bicycle traffic doing you know what at that time. So we have to be very careful when we make these criticisms. And I have to be honest with everybody in here. If complaints were out there, why wait until this particular time? That's a question mark in my mind. Why wait until this particular time to start bringing up your complaints? If I've got a serious complaint, I got a blabbermouth. I am going to make it at that time. I'm not going to wait months or years afterwards and say, well, this happened to me and that happened to me. I'm going to tell it at that particular time. So I don't know if this is politics. I'm pretty sure those who have complaints had the experience, but why wait until this particular time to do it? That is my question, and I'm going to support Chief Caldwell. Like I said, he and his men and women have been very good to District B. I've never had a problem, and that's the kind of cooperation that I want. Now, if there are bad apples in his administration, that's for him to take care of. If he doesn't take care of it, who has to answer? He does. And if he doesn't answer to it, then the mayor has to answer to it. And believe me, these people take care of their jobs as far as my experience has been with them. So I want my people, if this is televised and they see this on government channel, I want you to know that I will be supporting Chief Caldwell because he supports you.
Would be redundant if I wouldn't speak the same words that Miss August spoke. I had a major drug problem in my district. I would call the chief and Deputy Chief Nicosia, and we cleaned up a lot of little hot spots throughout District C that we were experiencing. And as Mrs. August so said or mentioned, the chief would call us if we have a major problem or any problem, or if someone was hurt or killed. When Chief Deputy Fondell was here, they communicated with us. So I urge all of our citizens, if you have a complaint about the behavior of an officer, number one, if you're not getting any action at the city, contact your city councilman and go through them to make connections. But I'm sure they will address the issue as it come forth, because these serious matters do matter to people and their loved ones. So with that thought in mind, I'm going to support Chief Caldwell because I have nothing against him. I don't have a thing against him, and he's been very cordial and friendly as well as business with me the number of years that I've been here and he's been here. Even when he was on a motorcycle in the traffic division, I would call him and he would help out around the school. So with that thought in mind, that's all I have to say. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, sir. Anyone else? Mr. Harvey?
Yes. So I want to take some time. First of all, I think I was one of the initiators of delaying the process last time. I think after we passed the vote. But I do want to appreciate the Chief Caldwell, obviously. I don't regret my sentiments, as I said last time. I do appreciate you and what the work you do for the city of Lake Charles and the constituents. But we've also had a meeting with Chief Caldwell where we requested and conveyed the sentiments of our constituents. And I appreciate you for listening to me. And I also want to thank the administration as well for setting up that meeting. And I want to thank those individuals in the community who came out to voice their concerns. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. I want to say that the chief is ultimately responsible for everything that happens in his department. You know, he takes that burden when he takes this position. We had a meeting with the chief, as Harvey said, and we talked about certain issues like expanding citizen complaint procedure, expanding recruiting efforts, increasing attendance at community meetings, body cams, transparency, and accountability. We brought those concerns, we brought citizens' concerns, we met with State Representative Carter, we met with leaders from the community, and we voiced these concerns to the chief. The chief has went on record and agreed that he is gonna work with State Representative Carter, myself, the council, the mayor's administration, to rectify any problems that's going on in the department. Are there some bad apples? Yes, I can attest to that. There is some bad apples in the police department. But part of rectifying any problem and coming up with solutions starts with our complaints. I'm gonna go on record here today and say that if there's anybody that wants to make a complaint to the city police and you're afraid, you don't wanna go up there by yourself, call me, call one of the council members, call the mayor, call somebody to go up there with you so this complaint can be filed. Because what we found out in this instance, this particular time, a lot of things wasn't known. There were a lot of complaints out there that wasn't known. Whether they were true or not, we still don't know. But there was a lot of people coming forward at the last minute saying that, hey, we have these complaints. Some of them Chief was aware of, some of them he wasn't aware of. But in order for us to fix this problem, we're gonna have to work together collectively. You know, we're gonna expect the citizens, when you feel you've been treated unfairly, make it known. Make it known, just like we do on social media and everywhere else, we make things known when we have a problem. We're gonna need that from the community if we're gonna do our job as the city council and make sure that everybody is following the rules like they're supposed to follow. You know, so I'm in line with the rest of the council members that at this particular point, we're gonna vote for Chief Caldwell. I'm gonna vote for Chief Caldwell. I can't speak for the rest, you know, because we have to do a better job collectively. It's hard for us to pinpoint and blame somebody when we don't have a lot of the evidence. And then a lot of the evidence we have is unclear. So we're gonna have to do make a better effort going forward. Now, I wanna just state for the record, this is Mayor Hunter appointment. If there should happen to be, for some reason, another mayor elected, then that other mayor does what he done with his administration. So right now, we have to handle the business that's at hand. We have to have a chief of police right now for the duration of Mayor Hunter's term. If it extends, then we know where we at. If it doesn't, then we'll be back here again, if you have complaints like you did before. But the chief has made a concerted effort to work with us, to listen to us, and he's agreed to do his best to hold his department accountable for any complaints that come forward. So with that being said, please vote.
7-4.
Item number 2.
Congratulations, Chief.
Chief, you want to say anything, Chief?
Thank you, council members. Thank you for your support. I'm gonna let y'all get back to business.
First of all, we need the approval of the minutes.
You might want to let the people leave right now.
Can't help that. Finally said some people are hot with me. Everybody's seat is theirs.
Please vote.
Please vote for who?
The approval of the minutes.
Okay. I thought we were back at
7-4.
Number 1, appointed chair to review requests for qualification for professional services for backup power at the transit facility. Mr. Eckert, Miss August.
Take it.
You take
Oh, yes, sir.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
before you move on past the appointments, can you do the deletions and deferrals?
Okay. We're deleting number 3 to May 7th, 2025.
Deferring.
Deferring number 3 to May 7th, 2025. We're deferring 16 to April 16th, 2025. We're deferring 13 to March 5th, 2025.
Mr. President, we're gonna go ahead and delete 13.
Delete 13?
Yes.
Okay, we're deleting number 13.
It'll
And we're
delete and
deleting-
start over.
Okay, huh?
It'll delete and the process will start over for that particular
Okay.
property.
And we're deleting number 5. So we're deferring 3 and 16, and we're deleting 5 and 13. Appointed chairman to review request for qualification for professional service for backup power at transit facility. That's Ms. August.
Yes, sir.
Public hearings. An ordinance ordering demolition and authorizing the city of Lake Charles to enter an agreement for demolition of a structure located at 1214 North Jackson Street. Latoya Marie Ned, estate owner. Mr. Harvey? Oh, Mr. Hester, I'm sorry.
Good evening, council. This is a residential structure, and you can see in the pictures it's a hurricane damaged structure. There's roof damage to this structure. There's exterior wall damage to this structure, window damage, all exposing the interior to severe weather damage of this structure.
All for the record, photographs of the subject property, proof of service through the marshal's office, and this is a rehearing from December 18th.
Okay, we have Miss Carly Alexal. I can't see what it is. Slow. That's it. Come to the mic, please. State your name and address for the record.
Candace Alexander, 1320 Mall Street, Lake Charles, Louisiana, 70601.
What do you like to see, Miss Alexander?
Well, first of all, thank you for being here. I find it very fitting that a student spoke tonight about environmental concerns because the way our city handles demolitions directly affects public health and safety, right? If demolitions are rushed, if the bidding process lacks oversight, and if asbestos inspections aren't properly conducted, then taxpayers, property owners, and entire neighborhoods are being put at risk. This isn't about just one property, it's about a pattern that demands accountability. So let's talk about the demolition process. Are property owners being properly notified? Before a demolition is approved, what measures are taken to ensure all legally recognized property owners are notified? If an error is made and someone's property is taken without full legal consent, what recourse does the owner have? So, can I ask questions, or it's just basically a statements?
Are you here?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So my question is, what sort of process does the city go through before a demo as far as asbestos is concerned?
Mr. Hester, can you answer that?
I think Mr. Mayon from planning and permitting can.
Is he here?
He is.
Mr. Mayo? Yeah, I'm assuming. She's speaking on 1214.
Jackson.
I think she's speaking generally.
Yes.
And not
I'm
on
speaking
12-14.
generally, but
Yeah.
you know, as far as heirs are concerned, they have Mr. Rodney Williams, who's
Point of order.
actually
Hold on, Miss Alexander. This
sitting.
is legal, right?
I do what?
For her to speak is legal.
She's speaking on demolitions in general. The item before you is 1214 Jackson.
Well, the word Collins is also attached to my friend Rodney Williams, whose home was demoed, and they're not related to the family. So,
Go ahead, Mr. Mayo.
At the present time, individual demolitions are not required to have asbestos surveys. They would not be required unless we're talking about multiple structures in a program, let's say, all packaged together. Then at that point, the city would be required to have an asbestos survey on those structures.
So
what year? What year does that?
You can't.
Oh,
ask
sorry.
him. So individually, as long as we tear down the individual house, we just follow the demolition rules.
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. August?
Well, clarify for me, because there were two houses on Road Street that had to have the plastic, and even on the dumpsters, the plastic was placed there. And so I'm confused when you say it's a part of a body of buildings, or because these would have been separate places.
Miss August, those two properties were part of the FEMA PPD program. So he was referring to, if it's part of a program, you go through the environmental. Those two properties that you're referring to were in PPDR.
Thank you. I needed clarification. Thank you.
So it's basically you pick and choose which house based on a year, or it just is in a
No.
package? I'm still not understanding.
She need to be talking about this property here.
Is that correct?
The item on the agenda is about 1214 Jackson Street.
Okay.
So we can talk about 1214 Jackson Street. What policies are going to be involved in the inspection of the demolition when it comes to asbestos concerning the environment?
I need to get clarification on that.
As Mr. Mayon said, it's a single residential demolition, so it will not require an environmental survey or an asbestos survey.
Well, let me get clarification on the record. When someone speaks on one of these items, they have to be the owner, or no? Okay.
We often have
So what-
neighbors who are complaining about the property.
So what year is this home? What year was this home built?
I have no idea.
Does the city, does it matter when it comes to asbestos? And the neighborhoods, if y'all aren't containing, like she said, plastic wraps and the process of
No.
environmental protection?
The city attorney explained that that was part of the PPD program.
Right.
That's a requirement of that program.
So why isn't a requirement for all the health of the whole city when it comes to demolition on any home that could possibly have asbestos?
It's state law. It's
State.
DEQ regulations.
So if you have a contractor that comes in to demo a property, it could be John Smith, and he demos a property that's full of asbestos, then what happens? He has to be DEQ qualified, right?
Yes, he has to do all that. He has to dispose of it in the proper way.
So I'm
Mis-
still
Mr. Marks,
confused.
they do, if for a single residential home.
That's what we talking about.
It does not require that you have a DEQ certification.
For the demolition.
That's correct.
So I'm understanding that each one of these demolitions, they're going along and making sure that they don't have asbestos for the health of the community? Is that correct?
It's no requirement.
So the answer is no.
Yes.
So y'all are demoing all of these homes with no
It's not required,
conscious.
Ms. Alexander.
So it's not. So I'm understanding it is not required to test a home for asbestos.
Yes.
So you can hire a contractor
Yes.
and they can go and without what she said, the big safety net, and just demo a home in the community.
Yes.
I think we have a problem.
I would suggest Ms. Alexander speak with a state representative or a state senator. This is state law we're following.
I mean, what about the health of the community? If y'all are just demoing asbestos, you can get one particle and it could be a lawsuit.
You may be right, Ms. Alexander, but it's
I am
state
right.
law, and as long as we follow that law, we're in compliance.
And she's within her purview to file a complaint with DEQ if she thinks we're doing something wrong.
Might be the only one I haven't filed a complaint with yet. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Harvey.
Yes, can we make a request to see if Miss Leisha Ned is in the audience? I don't see her.
Ms. Ned?
Okay, Ms. Ned is the owner of this particular property. I got a call from her before the meeting. She was trying to make it, but she's not. I don't want to make a decision without her being in here. So if possible, could we defer it either till she arrives in the meeting or to a later meeting date?
Is this the one that she thought would be there? Which way do you want to go? Do you want to table it, or
Let's see if we can just wait till she arrives. If she doesn't, then we can just do it.
if there's no objection, we can table it and come back?
That's cool.
Just remind us.
I just don't want to make a decision without her being here.
Okay, we'll table number 2. Number 4. An ordinance ordering demolition and authorizing the city of Lake Charles to enter into an agreement for demolition of a structure located at 1409 Cactus Drive. Brandon Jude Simon and Kaylin Renee Victorian Simon, owners. I got a deferment on that for 30 days. Mr. Morgan?
You're requesting that
Yes.
now? It'd be deferred to March 19th. I would note that their permit expires on March 13th. The
Okay.
permit that they've pulled on their own, but March 19th would be the date.
Deferred to 30 days, please vote.
7-4.
Number 5 is deleted. Number 6, an ordinance ordering demolition and authorizing the city of Lake Charles to enter an agreement for demolition of a structure located at 1517 Fournette Street, including all 3 structures. Serenity Oaks Property LLC owner. Mr. Hester.
Okay, these are residential storm damaged structures. 2 of them have already been demolished and they did have a permit. So there's 1 house left, and you can see in the pictures that it has severe roof damage to the house, exterior wall damage, window damage, all exposing the interior to severe weather damage of this structure.
Off for the record, photographs of subject property, proof of service through the marshal's office, and this is a rehearing from December 18th.
Mr. Harvey.
Yes, I spoke to the parcel owners, Mr. and Mrs. Morrow. They said they sent documentation to, I'm assuming City Hall. They're been approved for some program, and for whatever reasons, they're asking that we do not do anything with this structure because it would eliminate them from any state or federal assistance. So they said they turned documents in.
Yes, they have.
Okay. How long do you want to give them?
As long as possible. I mean, if they get federal assistance, I don't want to knock it down.
No, just to bring it back. Do you, or do you
Can we
want
just say 60 days?
60 days, so we'll set it for hearing on April 16th.
I'll communicate that with them too.
Deferred 60 days, please vote.
7-4.
Number 7, an ordinance ordering demolition and authorizing the city of Lake Charles to enter an agreement for demolition of a structure located at 1517 Martha Street. Don Eric Mohammed, owner. Mr. Hester.
And this is another hurricane damaged residential structure, and the owner does have a permit, and he has been working on the house. The back part of the house has hurricane damage, and you see in the pictures there's roof damage, exterior wall damage, window damage, all exposed in the interior to severe weather damage of this structure.
Off to the record, photographs of subject property, proof of service. Actually, this is a rehearing from December 18th, and a permit was pulled that appears to have expired on January 28th.
Don Mohammed. State your name and address for the record, please.
Don Eric Muhammad of 1517 Martha Street.
Okay. Mr. Mohammed, did you hear what the city attorney said, that the permit has expired?
Yes, but I was told to go get the permit, and when I went go get the permit, the city council approved me for 60 days for the permit. So when I went in there to get my 60-day permit, I paid for it, and they told me that they're only offering a 30-day. Now, I went ahead and I got that, and I told them at the time, I said, I'm gonna go to work on it, but I work for a living, so I'm not gonna be able to keep running back and forth uptown, you know, and the city council already approved me for 60 days, and that was back in December 18th. So I already put in for that, but I went ahead on the property. I acquired the materials and equipment, and I started to work on it. So it wasn't a question of my funding or my ability, but I did run out of time because I've been doing the work myself. But the damage that's from the weather and that type of thing, these pictures are not exactly updated. I have turned in some updated pictures, and I turned in some updated pictures, so they're better than this. And we're moving along the road of improving it more. And as far as the deterioration from the storm in the future, that's been addressed and arrested, and right now it's closed off. It's not a hazard to myself or to the neighbors. And what I'm here for is basically, I would like you all to consider and vote on extending my time so I can continue to make improvements, because really that's what I'm dealing with. I'm paying for it out of pocket, and there's no problem. I'm doing that. But I just need time to continue moving along that path. And obviously, I'm here requesting that you vote in that favor, but either way it goes, I'll be remiss to say, if I don't mention that I'm grateful to Mr. Hester and Councilman Harvey, because in the past few weeks, they've been an open door to me. If I needed to get a call or ask a question, I haven't been turned down. I haven't had to deal with voicemail, that type of thing. So they've been open to me, so either way, I'm grateful for that. But yes, I would like some more time to continue down this road of improving the property.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes, I have been in consistent communication with Mr. Muhammad. I appreciate you for being persistent. I'm okay with giving him back the initial 60 days as long as it's in accordance with what Mr. Hester needs done. Mr. Hester's the expert, so whatever we need to get
60
done,
days, yeah.
we'll extend it 60 days, which is what we initially gave him.
Yes, sir.
And then if he can make the improvements as suggested by Mr. Hester, I'm okay with that.
Yes, sir.
So we would extend it to April 16th. You would return here on April 16th to update the council on your progress. I'll ask Mr. Mayon to put a note in the permit record system that allows for a 60-day permit to April 16th.
And this will be his final notice, right?
Right, you won't get a notice in the mail, April 16th.
Got it. Please vote.
7-4.
Number 8, an ordinance ordering demolition and authorizing the city of Lake Charles to enter an agreement for demolition of a structure located at 1514 Parish Street. Edward Henry and Brenda Joyce Ellis Henry, owner. Mr. Hester.
This is a storm damaged structure. It's a residential structure. You can see in the pictures there's some roof damage, there's exterior wall damage, window damage. The structure was open to the public, and the interior has been completely gutted.
This is a rehearing from January 15th.
Mr. Harvey?
Last time I know this, this couple came for it.
Excuse me, 1 second, 1 second. Is there anyone here for number 9?
Well, we're on number 8.
Oh, number 8? Okay. My bad. Mr. Harvey?
For clarity, Mr. Moore. No, is the couple, did they send any documentation? The last time I know they were here, they said they were working with some type of program or anything like that?
I think they were talking, at one time they mentioned selling it, and then another time they mentioned having it elevated off the property and moved off the property, but I don't believe legal's gotten anything, and I don't know, and Mr. Hester hasn't either.
If I'm not mistaken too, I think they have another property on tonight's thing, would you suggest normal delays?
Yes, sir.
Normal delays, please vote. Anyone here for number 9?
Can you read out the name, please?
Quentin Wayne Miller.
If not, we'd request a deferral to appoint a curator.
All right. Please vote.
7-4.
Number 10. An ordinance ordering demolition and authorizing the city of Lake Charles to enter an agreement for demolition of a structure located at 2131 Knapp Street. Robert Rodin Vital, owner, subject to a tax sale to the state of Louisiana. Mr. Hester.
And this house has portions of the roof are damaged, exterior wall damage, it had some window damage, and the interior was weather damaged.
All for the record, photographs of subject property, proof of service through the marshal's office, and this is a rehearing.
Mr. Robert Vital,
Yes,
please state your name and address for the record.
Robert Vital, 2131 Knapp Street, Lake Charles, Louisiana.
What would you like to see done?
I'd like to see it be tore down. Go on and just tear it down.
Mr. Harvey?
All right, Mr. Vite, I know last time we had gave you an extension, but you absolutely sure that's what you want?
Yeah, I'm gonna just go on and tear it down, but I need to get the rest of the stuff out of there before y'all tear it down.
You want to do it? You gonna have it contracted out yourself, or you want the city to do it?
I'll just let the city do it.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, can we explain that process?
How long you think it'll take you to remove your items?
Shouldn't take me that long, so I don't know.
30 days?
Yeah, probably.
So I think we could set it as a 36 or 30-30. That'll give them an opportunity to move out. We'll send it out for bid, and then once the demolition's done, you'll get an invoice for it. And if you don't pay the invoice, it'll go on the tax bill.
Okay.
Sure, you agree with that?
Yeah.
30-30, please vote.
7-4.
Number 11, an ordinance ordering demolition and authorizing the city of Lake Charles to enter an agreement for demolition of a structure located at 215 Orchard Drive, deck only. J. Borg 4 LLC owner. Mr. Hester.
We had talked about it with the council's approval, deferring this one. We know it's for a wharf, and they've started removing it. They have heavy equipment over there, and we got pictures today from Mr. Hester of them removing.
So they have a permit also, or do they need a permit to do that?
They don't have a demo permit, and they don't have a repair permit.
Or do they have to have one to do that?
They need a demo permit.
Yeah, they will need one.
And when they start repair, they'll need a repair permit through the parish.
Through the parish, is it 4 as well? I mean, can we?
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Can we defer it for 30
That's what I
days,
was
and we'll get
asking.
with the
That was
owner
gonna
and
be
make
my
sure they're
suggestion.
aware?
Right. That was pretty much, yeah, let's defer 30 days to whatever meeting that will be.
So, March 19th?
We want to defer till March 19th. Please vote. Number 12,
4.
an ordinance ordering demolition and authorizing the city of Lake Charles to enter an agreement for demolition of a structure located at 2334 9th Street. Harold Thibodeau, owner, subject to a tax sale to the state of Louisiana. Mr. Hester.
This is a residential structure. It's a storm damaged structure, and you can see in the pictures there's quite a bit of roof damage to this structure, exterior wall damage, window damage, all exposing the interior to severe weather damaged structure, and it was open to the public.
All for the record, photographs of subject property and proof of service to the marshal's office.
Mr. Guillen.
15-15.
15-15, please vote.
7-4.
13 is deferred to March 5th, 2025.
Deleted.
Deleted? Okay, I got that. Deleted. Number 14, an ordinance ordering demolition and authorizing the city of Lake Charles to enter an agreement for demolition of a structure located at 2024 Mill Street. Davis Guillory and Sonoria Gallo Guillory owners. Mr. Hester.
This is a hurricane damaged structure, and it had roof damage to the structure. It had some exterior wall damage to the siding. There was some exterior windows that were damaged, all exposing the interior to severe weather damage of this structure.
Offer of the record photographs of the subject property and proof of service to the marshal's office.
Mr. Leo Guillory. Please state your name and address for the record.
Leo Guillory, 814 High Street, Homer, Louisiana.
What would you like to see happen, Mr. Guillory?
This talking about demo. I'm just getting in town. My father is handicapped at home. My mother just died 6 months ago.
Okay.
She passed they have 6 properties. She passed her share off to my brothers. They all in different locations. I'm just getting abreast of this situation. Just drove in. So I don't know what condition it's in. I don't know if it'd be cheaper to demo it versus trying to repair it. So I guess I'm asking for time to view it.
Ms. August? Normal delays. Could you explain that, Mr. Morgan, to us?
So normal delays would allow you you'd have 30 days to pull a permit to begin repairs or to demolish. And then you'd have an additional 30 days to repair or completely demolish the property, so 30-60.
You mean if I get a permit, I still just have 30 days to repair the property?
If you pulled a permit tomorrow, you'd have 60 days to repair
That's
it.
not possible. I'm a contractor 32 years, and that's not even possible. Now y'all giving people unrealistic demands. That's not even possible. Okay, well, that I understand. Thank you, because that's very unrealistic.
So what do we give?
3060.
30-60. Please vote.
7-4.
Number 15. That's it, Mr.
Oh,
Guillory.
thank y'all. Thank you, Mr.
Number 15, Billy Joe Brown. Is Billy Joe Brown here? We're gonna defer until March 19th.
Thank you.
All right. Number 16 is deferred into April 16th.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I wanted to make just a few general comments about demolitions. May I?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to be having you guys as my therapist for a moment, have some therapeutic comments. You know, I have never seen this council not give someone more time if they needed some additional time or needed to work through something on a demolition. The neighborhoods that we are faced with right now, a lot of neighbors are calling us demanding action on these homes. So we have sympathy for individuals, and it's 4.5 years post Hurricane Laura. So just as we're sympathetic towards people and their concerns for their properties, we're also sympathetic to the neighbors that are living next to some of these properties. The process that we use follows state law. It is a rigorous process. It is a vetted process, both for demolitions and notifications. If someone does not own a home, that is a problem. Successions are a real problem in this community. There are some programs that we have tried to initiate to help with successions, but ownership can at times be a problem. We do have programs that will help an owner of a property rebuild with a brand new home. But if they don't have ownership of that property, if they can't show they have title to that property, we can't use those federal funds to do that. So in many instances, if people have walked into City Hall and had issues that we can't use governmental funds to help, we've tried to connect them with nonprofits, connect them with faith-based organizations. But you know, the City of Lake Charles is not just God in the community and can just wave a wand and make something happen immediately. So these demolitions, I appreciate the council's approach to them. And I just want to say again that since I've been mayor, I have never seen the council not give someone full sympathy and understanding if they will just show up to a meeting and voice their concerns. And if they need more time, I've always seen y'all give them more time. So, thank you, Mr. President.
Ordinance for final action. Number 17, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive and responsible bid and authorizing the City of Lake Charles to enter an agreement to purchase one aerial telescopic device body for use by Public Works Department, Communications and Traffic Division.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to bring the council attention to, and I know Mr. Eckert is going to be looking at that. The city went with UTEC. It's the highest bidder in the amount of $123,300. We went with them because the first bid was not done appropriately, and I think that was for Courtesy Ford. The Alltech Industries, it would have taken over 2 years to get the part that they needed for this new truck, and so we needed, it was a necessity that we needed that particular part, so we had to go with the UTEC. And so I move that we accept this bid of $123,300.
Any questions or comments? Please vote.
7-4.
Number 18, an ordinance declaring the intent of the City of Lake Charles to acquire full ownership interest in 8 parcels of adjudicated property pursuant to the Louisiana Revised Statute 47-2236 and providing further thereto. We have a card in regards to this. Mr. Alvin Joseph. Please state your name and address for the record.
Alvin Joseph, 2309 17th Street. As you know, first of all, thank you for y'all service, appreciate it. And I'm not going to do like somebody did, Mr. Harvey earlier, like he was running for office. But congratulations, Chief Caldwell. Last at the agenda meeting, I talked about these 8 parcels because I said my concern was there's no description of where they're at, and they said, well, y'all do have a description that comes with y'all agenda, which Mr. Morgan handed me the description of those 8 parcels right before the meeting. I appreciate it. But my question is, why can't we put the 8 parcels? We don't have to put all the description in, but the address on the agenda, so when someone like me look at it, well, beforehand, I can go and maybe take a ride and, see where they are. He did tell me the ones on Catherine Street, what's going on with it, but I was talking about these 8 parcels here, and, because it may be, I don't know why the city is wanting ownership. Don't know. It just states it's so vague. So I don't know what's going on. Is it some parcels or some land or homes on the land that can be maybe help a single family out? I don't know, because it seems like the city can clear up paperwork faster than the layperson can. I don't know. I don't know where these parcels are. So.
Mr. Morgan, can we give any explanation about what we're using this for?
Sure. One clarification, the 2 Catherine Street properties aren't adjudicated, so those are the next 2 items, but they're not adjudicated. I can't tell you individually that any of these are earmarked for anything. They probably are not, but I can tell you if they're on this list, they've been adjudicated for longer than 5 years. And they're usually along a corridor, like an I-10 corridor or some other corridor in the city. And as Mr. Joseph said, there's a statutory process that allows us to, not 100%, but to clean up the title as best it probably ever will be. So that's what we've done, and then we can turn those around and put them back into commerce. We've done it a couple of times with some nonprofits, but that's what we're trying to do, is get this property back into commerce.
Mr. President, may I offer a couple more comments?
Yes, sir.
There are no, I'm almost 99% sure, there are no adjudicated properties in this city that have houses or buildings on them that are worth anything. So all of these are vacant land, and as Mr. Morgan stated, we don't necessarily want to be larger property owners than we already are with these adjudicated properties, but they've been in such a state of limbo for some literally decades. So the goal is make the title clearer so that they can be put back into commerce eventually. And as he stated, we have done this a couple times with some nonprofits, with some churches, and even with some businesses who are now willing to buy them because the city has helped the title get clearer.
Anything else, Mr. Joseph?
No, I'm good.
All right, appreciate you.
But can it be?
What I was gonna suggest is what we might be able to do, rather than put it on the agenda, because the agenda is just supposed to be what the topic is. We can start posting this, what you have in your hand, so that people can see which properties they are.
So you can't put it on the agenda because of what?
I mean,
now,
we could, but the agenda item would turn into that as opposed to, but we could still post what these properties are. We post the agendas online, we can post this online and post it on our screens outside.
Okay, because I was thinking if you just put the street name, you don't have to put everything as underneath, because when we have owners and you have 15 owners, you have to list all of those that's in that succession. It's the same thing. I don't know why we cannot at least have it. I mean, if not, then the extra sheet is okay. You know, I'm just asking. Yeah.
That's a good question. We can discuss
I mean,
that.
we can list the parcel numbers, we can list the addresses, it's whatever you all prefer.
Okay.
It's just like, the normal batch is 10, so you'd have 10 addresses and 10 parcel numbers.
Keep in mind, not all will have addresses. Some will be parcel numbers, and some don't have addresses.
Okay. All right, any other questions or comments? Please vote.
7-4.
Number 19, an ordinance authorizing the city of Lake Charles to purchase property located at 1415 Catherine Street from the record owner. 19. It's Mr. Harvey's district. Go ahead.
It's just a purchase.
Just a purchase, so we don't need to read the fact sheet.
No,
Okay.
I mean, you can, but no, you don't need to.
Please vote.
7-4.
Number 20, an ordinance authorizing the city of Lake Charles to purchase property located at 1417 Catherine Street, 1103 North Line Street from the record owner. Please vote.
7-4.
21, an ordinance authorizing the city of Lake Charles to allow more than 10% cumulative increase for a change order for project number CP 3423 wastewater treatment plant A basin A05 sewer rehabilitation. I have a question about that. How are we getting to this 10%? You know, why didn't we catch that from the beginning? If we having to make a change order for it right now.
Councilman Marks.
Yes, sir.
These are an engineered rehabilitation where cameras are run underground in the sometimes 100-year-old sewer lines, and there's an estimate of quantity, an estimate of depth that needs to be done, and occasionally they're trying to hook on to pipe that's no longer able to be rehabbed, so they have to put additional new pipe down, additional quantities down to get that particular location or that particular street back into correct service.
So this is a area of street that we could not visually see.
It's under the street. It's anywhere between 3 feet and 17 feet underneath the
Okay.
street.
All right, I got you. All right, any other questions? Please vote.
7-4.
22, an ordinance amending chapter 20, section 2183 to designate the north side of Mill Street from Ann Street to a point 215 feet east of Ann Street as parking for law enforcement. Any questions or comments? In other words, the way it was stated.
It's in
Go ahead.
front of the city courthouse.
Oh,
They wanted to designate it as parking for law enforcement and for safety purposes, so somebody couldn't pull up at the front door.
Now, I do have a question. If we're gonna make this specific for police cars, how are we gonna distinguish? What if somebody just took an old police car and drove and parked the car right there? You know, I mean, if they gonna blow up the building.
Well, if they're gonna, if it has law enforcement on the side, then they're imposturing a law enforcement officer, and that's a crime.
Okay.
But typically, it's gonna be the marshal's office that you'll see their vehicles, or if a police officer has to testify on a criminal matter, it'll be a police officer vehicle that we recognize.
Now, is this is only doing the business hours?
The way it is shown right now is round the clock.
Round the clock.
I believe that was the request in the, from the marshal's office.
Why do they need round the clock?
I didn't talk with him, I just got the request.
Mr. Marks and I were talking about this earlier. If it's a safety issue, it seems to me to be even more advantageous to have no parking. It's a safety.
That's what it currently is no parking. You have, right there where Erdace is, we have the city has a little parking lot to the north. Right where that parking lot ends, from that point on, it's a 2-lane going towards, the lake.
So if it's no parking now, they basically want police parking.
Correct.
So it's not about safety.
Well, their letter says,
The gist of the letter was for safety purposes.
correct.
Just curious.
All right, any other questions or comments? Please vote.
7-4.
The following resolutions may be adopted by consent. Number 23 was pulled. Any other numbers need to be pulled? What you got?
Is this the item we tabled, do we wanna go ahead and defer that? Or do we wanna wait and go through the?
You wanna go back before this?
It's up to y'all.
Yeah, we can go back right now and take care.
It was item 2.
Number 2, you wanna,
Table, 'cause she is, and then-
she's here?
Good defer, I'm gonna defer.
She's still not here? We're gonna defer for what? Defer 30 days?
And this is item 2. We're deferring
number
for 30
2.
days to
me
March
read it?
19th.
Yeah.
We're good.
March 19th. Please vote.
7-4.
Anybody got anything they need pulled? Pull number 40. Anything else?
We pull number 24 and number 35.
24, 35, and 40. Anything else? Okay, number 24, a resolution approving the mayor's appointment of members to the Historic Preservation Commission.
And for the record, those were Nitra Mouton and Peyton Paulicki.
Any questions or comments? Please vote. 35, a resolution approving the mayor's.
Mr. President.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry, I just wanted to point out Ms. Mouton is here and say thank you for being with us, sir.
Welcome aboard. Number 35, a resolution approving the mayor's appointment of members to the Downtown Development Authority Lakefront Development Sub-District in accordance with ordinance number 15062.
And that appointment is Jacob Manso.
Jacob Manso. Please vote. And number 40,
7-4.
a resolution authorizing the city of Lake Charles to advertise to receive sealed bids for project number CP 3512, Gosport Park Pool and Improvements. Mr. Harvey, would you be the appointment? All right, it just need an appointment. We didn't need to discuss it. You good? What, you wanted to talk about it? Okay, you ask your question.
I'm sorry.
You gotta make sure you talk into the mic so we can hear it.
I have a question. I know we about to advertise, but as far as a timeline, and are we final on the design that was presented, or did we make any adjustments, pivot from it? I know at one time we talked about tweaking some things.
Mr. Castile here.
Was, I don't know if it's still there.
Well, I mean, if we're going out for bid, I'll probably finalize on the design, and I would not be the best person to give you a timeline. You know. It has to
Mr.
be
Harvey, we
spent by
could,
August, is that right? So it's supposed to be well underway by August of this year.
but what we can do, if this is a resolution to advertise, we can have Mr. Castile get with you tomorrow. And we won't, if y'all approve it, we'll, make that advertisement contingent upon you saying go.
Well, I would highly suggest we not delay the advertisement because
Yeah.
we're under a time crunch with some.
No, that's what I was saying.
Okay.
Yeah, approve the resolution and he'll give you a call.
If we approve the resolution and we have changes, we need to make changes to the design. Does that affect this vote tonight?
Doesn't affect the advertisement. I mean, there can be changes to it.
Okay.
Mr. Harvey, why don't we just we'll move forward with it. We'll have Mr. Castile call you tomorrow. I think for the most part, everything we had talked about is in place, but that way you can confirm it. But, you know, we want to do what you think is needed in that area, as long as it comes within budget. We've had that conversation before. So if they've tweaked some things, he can get with you tomorrow on it and clear it all up.
Gotcha. I just, again,
Also, remember, we can build something, and we can come back and make it nicer later on.
or we can build it nicer from the beginning and we can come back and make it nicer.
Well, it's within budgets.
No,
It's within
I just,
budgets.
only reason I'm asking the question, because I do have some questions. I mean, I've been getting fielding questions from the constituents about it. They're excited about the return of the pool, but I'm gonna be selfish, I'm gonna be greedy, for District 8. We want something that has never been put before, so I just wanna, there you go.
Oh, there
Hold
he
on.
is.
Yes. Give me my time.
Can you repeat the question, please?
The question that I have is, with the design that was presented, are we final with that design?
Very close to it. And I know we wanted to look through, I would say we're 99% going that direction, and it's only because of the fact that we're using grant money, and it's in a very small time frame that we need to move so we can get this pool built.
Mr. Castile, could you get with Mr. Harvey tomorrow and kind of go
Absolutely.
through the plan? We are under a time crunch, and we want to make sure we don't lose the funding for this project.
I got you.
And that was part of why we went ahead and put it on, Mr. Harvey. But Mike can get with you tomorrow, and any adjustments we need to make will be
Absolutely.
Okay, and then I have another question.
accommodate.
In the event, I know it's coming from different funding sources, but like how we go and we approve amendments and change orders, what if we do come to a point where we want to change something? Where would the change order funding come from? If we know we locked in at the amount of the grant, like would the city be responsible for anything changes after? If we make adjustments, who would be responsible for that cost?
Well, being that we're going into the project, it is very tight, and then where we're at in the fiscal year. But I mean, if there is any grant changes, the grant will not provide for that, so the city would have to. But that's something we would have to look at as we approach that. But we could definitely discuss. Is there anything specific that you would like
Well,
to?
I know we never closed a conversation about the design.
Okay.
I know we had a lot of talk about it, but like I say, I wanted to move forward. I want to shovel the big hole and start going in the ground, but at the same time, I want to make sure that the things that we spoke about was discussed.
Agreed.
without before
Look,
we
I
just-
want to build something that's going to last forever, that we can all appreciate. I just want to make sure that we factor in everything that's going to take to get that pool built, and time is one of those.
Gotcha. Okay.
Appreciate
And
it.
so, just for the record, we said possibly shoveling the ground by August 2025.
Oh, sooner. Much sooner.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's all.
So, Mr. Harvey, you the chair.
And Mr. Castile, a reminder to try to get Mr. Harvey
I will,
tomorrow if you
absolutely.
can and try to work through that.
I will definitely do it.
All right, number 20. Yes, sir.
Go ahead and get a vote on that one.
Oh, yeah. Number 40. Please vote. All right, we are back to 25. Hearing date is March 5th, 2025. A resolution setting date for public hearing on alteration of a shoreline of Calcasieu River to repair an existing bulkhead, demolish an existing wharf, and construct a new wharf at 13 River Road. 26 through 34, the hearing date is April 2nd, 2025. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 517 Bank Street, shed and carport, Wallace Charles, owner. 27, a resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 404 South Shattuck Street, shed only, Sheba Ruth Day and Libby Nicole Day, owners. 28, a resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 1913 North Lincoln Street, Shirley Byers Senior Estate, owner, subject to a tax sale to the state of Louisiana. 29, a resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 2116 3rd Street, Orrin L. Owens Estate and Rosemary Owens, owners. Number 30, a resolution setting date for public hearing and condemnation of a structure located at 1217 11th Street, shed only, Shirley Gale Estate, Shirley Gale, William Gedge Gale Jr., Shirley Sue Gale, and Robert Owen Gale, owners. 31, a resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 607 8th Street. Alice Fenton Riley Richard, owner. 32, a resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 601 8th Street. Alice Fenton Riley Richard, owner. 33, a resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 1201 South Elton Court. Ricky Joseph Thibodeau and Pamela Joyce Hager Thibodeau, owners. 34, a resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 927 Mill Street. Jesse Lee Corman and Deidre Ann Corman, owners. 36, a resolution authorizing the city of Lake Charles to advertise to receive sealed bids to purchase public safety uniforms for use by the Lake Charles Fire and Police Department. Mr. Ayu, would you take that?
Yes, sir.
37, a resolution authorizing the city of Lake Charles to advertise to receive sealed bids to purchase road-based limestone aggregate per specifications for use by the Public Works Department. Mr. Weatherford, would you take that?
Yes, sir.
38, a resolution authorizing the city of Lake Charles to advertise to receive sealed proposals to furnish and deliver bulk lubricants for use by the Public Works Department Vehicle Maintenance Division. Mr. Guillen, would you take that?
I will.
39, a resolution authorizing the city of Lake Charles to advertise to receive sealed bids to purchase 4,000 PSI ready mix material for use by the Public Works Department Streets Division. Mr. Eckert, would you take that?
Yes, sir.
41, a resolution declaring Lock Park and Nellie Letcher Memorial Park as family-friendly zones during 2025 Mardi Gras parade activities and requesting the Lake Charles Police Department enforce the provisions of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Lake Charles that prohibit the possession, consumption, and/or sale of alcoholic beverages in parks within the City of Lake Charles and prohibit parking within Lock Park and Nellie Letcher Memorial Park grounds during the 2025 Mardi Gras parades. Please vote. This meeting is adjourned.
No, you got to read.
Oh, the following ordinances are introduction by consent and will be read into the record the day following this meeting at 1 o'clock in the City Council chambers in City Hall. Now this meeting is adjourned.
I said, what's her name? Sam. Sam, I said, oh, but Sam is mad. And Craig. She made some faces. Yeah, she was over there, sitting over there.
That's we're trying to figure out why the lights. So we changed it. They don't work. Yeah. Well,
You don't have them
we
on,
changed
right?
it to programming. So